And this is the recommended resource allocation for the 3 horizons. Usually companies put 70% of investment in horizon 1, 20% of investment in horizon 2, and 10% in horizon 3. And that is stable company, mature companies. So back then, there is a startup that they acquired called Internet 100. And Internet 100 was literally building internet in Africa. And the startup founder quit Meta and joined, I think, Lyft, and became their vice president and later chief product officer. And in 2020, he interviewed me when I was interviewing Lyft APM program. I work for user growth and user acquisition, right? How do you decide when to pop up a login wall on your guest experience? And what value proposition do you want to put on that login wall is extremely important. And you want to use whatever signal you have from the guest user on your guest experience, because you literally don't know who that member is, to identify what they need, right? It's always interesting also to see the cultural difference between China and the United States. In Chinese tech companies, in the elevators, you can see ads to promote you to like plant new hair. If you think about us going into the elevator together after work, then only see JJ pulling out her phone and scan the QR code on the elevator. And this is also one of the concepts that you can use to evaluate the company that you are working for. Okay, for example, the first horizon, it is usually extend and defend your core businesses. The second horizon is build emerging businesses. And the third horizon is to create viable options. So if we use LinkedIn as an example, right? For LinkedIn, the first horizon is the LinkedIn recruiter products, the LinkedIn talent solutions, right? That is half of our total revenue. And also LinkedIn ads. LinkedIn marketing solution is approximately another half of the business. And the product that I work on right now, who in my profile search appearance, is part of premium. Does it have a lot of revenue generated? Yes, but it still belongs to Horizon 1 because it is a legacy product and we just want to extend and defend core businesses, right? And what is the second horizon? You can always see it like within premium. LinkedIn is launching new premium subscriptions, right? For example, premium for company pages or premium for small and medium businesses. Why does LinkedIn, after 20 years, started to launch all these SKUs? Because right now the startup scene is really hot and everybody wants to advertise their products on LinkedIn. So we can monetize from that, right? So that is the second horizon. What we expect the first horizon to do is to maintain your current business, to defend your core business, and that is your 1 to 2 year plan. And your horizon 2 is your 5 years plan, and your horizon 3 is your 10-year plan. So, for example, for premium, small medium businesses, for companies, we expect in 5 years it will be a part of the core business, right? So that is in our horizon 2. For horizon 3, it might be, let's say we're doing like AI applying for jobs, AI for recruiting, for recruiters to recruit, right? These might not allow us to monetize in the short term. People will be interested in it, but is it going to be our core business? Definitely not, right, today. So it could be in the horizon 3 that we want it to be the main use case or the main user journey in 10 years. This is just me making a very rough example. The other companies, I think they have a better 3 horizons than LinkedIn, and we'll talk about that later. So for the 3 horizons, right? The first horizon is within 1 year, you want to generate today's cash flow, right? That's how important Who in My Profile and Premium Analytics is to LinkedIn as a company, right? Because if I don't meet my target, then LinkedIn Premium or LinkedIn or even LinkedIn cannot meet your annual financial target, because that is the biggest part of your cash flow today. And then for Horizon 2, that is now we are talking about like another like 3 years on top of the 12 months, is today's revenue growth. Like it has the most highest percentage of growth, and also tomorrow's cash flow, right? So these are the ones back to the previous concept that we talk about, right? Cash cow, dog, star, and question mark. For the Horizon 1, it is cash cow, right? For Horizon 2, that is star, because we're pretty sure that they have the potential, right? It is not the main cash flow today. And then the third horizon, which is the longer term, it is the options on future high growth businesses. So you don't know whether your investment can get return or not, but that is the direction that you want to work towards to. So these are the leadership questions to Horizon 1. And those are the questions that I get on a daily basis. Okay. So are our core businesses generate sufficient earning to allow us to invest in growth? Do we have a strong performance orientation to push profits higher in the next few years? Is our cost structure competitive with that of the rest of the industry? Has operating performance been stable? Has market share grown or been stable? Are we reasonably well protected from our new competitors, technologies, or regulations that could change the rule of games? So basically, the company is trying to make sure that you're still going to be their cash cow in the next few years, right? In today's case, companies like LinkedIn, companies like Microsoft want to make sure that their cash cow are still cash cow, or even they're growing very fast, so we can use that money to mitigate the investment we have on AI. And leadership question to Horizon 2. Do we have any new businesses capable of creating as much economic value as the current core businesses? Are these new businesses gaining momentum in the marketplace? Are we prepared to make substantial investment to accelerate their growth? Is there mounting investor confidence in these businesses? Are the new businesses attracting entrepreneurial talents to our organization? So for example, when LinkedIn Premium first launched Premium for company pages, right? The first year, their target is first year? No, first half a year, their target is $50 million. It is not much for a new skill, honestly, right? For the other two skills today, like Premium for career or Premium for businesses, these two skills are both more than $1 billion. So if you want the Premium for page to generate $50 million in the first half year, it's not much, right? That's Who View My Profile's 1/4 OKR. But you want to have the momentum that you could earn more in the following years. So that is something you want to prove to the leadership. Right now, in the first half a year, I have $50 million. First year, I have $100 million. Next year, I probably can give you $300 million, right? You want to have the momentum. You want to have the high growth. Of course, your year-to-year growth has to be higher than Horizon 1. If you're saying that Who View My Profile is growing at 30% and you company for Premium for page only grow at 10%, then you're not in Horizon 2. Okay, you're just not having enough opportunities. So the growth is what leadership wants from Horizon 2. And leadership questions to Horizon 3. Does our leadership team set aside time to think about growth opportunities and industry evolution? Have we developed a rich portfolio of options for reinventing existing businesses and creating new ones? Are these ideas very different from those on the list last year, 3 years ago, or 5 years ago? Are we developing effective ways to turn these ideas into new businesses? Have the ideas been made tangible in concrete, measurable first steps? So what do you really want to do, especially in big companies? You want the leadership to focus on the Horizon 3. Because leadership are like us, okay? But you have to push them to become leaders. So if they're like us, right? They will always think like, have I made my target, right? You don't want your leadership to think like this. If your leadership already think like this, they always focus on Horizon 1 and 2, right? You want your leadership to think about Horizon 3 and to really focus on Horizon 3. And that is what your company is going in the next 10 years. So that's your company's future. And also, because a lot of times leadership were like, oh, those are ongoing, those are Horizon 3, I will tackle those later. It also happens when a company have the same Horizon 3 5 years ago or 3 years ago. So that is also a sign that the company is not putting enough investment in the Horizon 3. So you want to have your learnings from Horizon 2, from Horizon 1, and from your previous Horizon 3 to inform your actions in the future, right? So if you're saying that, oh, I want to focus on building connectivity and internet for people in Africa, right? You think about this 5 years ago, and still thinking about this 5 years later, then what did you do in the past 5 years, right? So your goal is to make the Horizon 3 projects in Horizon 2, right? So if they're not giving you high growth, hyper growth, then there's something wrong with your execution. And you want to make sure for the leadership and for your team as well to execute the ideas, you don't want them to feel like this idea is up there, right? You want to have a concrete execution plan for your team to say the how we want to execute step by step for the Horizon 3. So Horizon 3 always look very far from today, but you have to spend time on it. Yeah, for all the questions from your leadership, you better say yes to all of the questions. Then let's dive a little bit deeper. How we separate different horizons. Horizon 1 are incremental improvements, right? They are targeting existing market we already serve. They're using existing technology we already use or deploy, right? Today, if let's say on Who My Profile, I'm giving you guys a list of profile viewers, right? And I give you guys different sort of like methods. You can sort by relevancy or you can sort by recency, right? And this is just existing technology targeting existing market. That is totally Horizon 1. But can I work on Horizon 2, right? Let's say right now, instead of using the existing technology on existing market, I'm thinking, how about let's target a new market? For example, for I'm just bullshitting here. Do not quote me. I probably will cut this out. Let's say instead of creating professional opportunities, let's think about using Who My Profile for dating, right? That is targeting a new market, and that will put myself to Horizon 2. Or I could use a new technology, right? Instead of just ranking all the profile viewers to you and tell you who is the most relevant to you, I could also leverage LLM to go through all their history on LinkedIn. I could go through their profile. I could go through their previous content. I could go through their activities too, right? As long as I don't show that activity to you as a profile owner. I could tell, because Yogesh viewed my profile, I could tell JJ that based on all the content Yogesh previously talked about, I think these are the topics that you could talk about with Yogesh, right? That I probably leverage LLM to work on new use cases. So that will put myself in Horizon 2 because I don't know whether it will work or not, right? So this is my 3-year plan. Horizon 3 is new market, new technology. So you want to target new people. Let's say right now, I'm not only targeting all of you guys to work on dating, right? To work on using Who My Profile for dating. I target blue collar workers who don't even use LinkedIn. And I want them to use Who My Profile for dating, right? That is a new market. So that will put me into Horizon 3. Well, those blue collar workers use LinkedIn, that is already a question, right? Whether it's a legit use case for them, that is another question. So if I want to make it work, I will probably use a lot of time to make it a core business of LinkedIn.
What would a Horizon 3 look like? Like them setting up like a school, like a
Duolingo
physical building?
doesn't have one. I think that is very straightforward. Um, and that's why their stock decreased so much.
Hmm.
I think they have a major problem in Horizon 3. Like there are several like problems a company have. Not having Horizon 3 is one of them. And that's why also companies like LinkedIn or Airbnb, the real problem is the talent problem. Because if you don't have the environment for new technology, the talents that work on new technology will also not come to your company. So that's why when you think about these companies, Horizon 3, you kind of like, oh, is there a new technology? You could probably just target a new market. Um, so yeah, Duolingo is very hard. We will talk about the healthy 3 horizons and their investment distribution, but very rare do companies today on this planet have a very healthy 3 horizons.
I wanted to know, like, for Horizon 1, usually the performance metrics are related to revenue. How much market share are you keep prevailing over the quarters? For the second Horizon 2, it's most about growth. How much you are growing at? Are you growing at a faster pace than your Horizon 1? But for Horizon 3, so if JJ is working for a Horizon 3 for LinkedIn or any other company, how do companies measure the growth, like how do they measure momentum in Horizon 3? Like
Mm.
how the leadership views it.
When you validate Horizon 3, it is the same with you validating a new technology from a startup because you want to prove product market fit. That is the biggest problem.
So you are saying PMF is the metric which people look for in Horizon.
Yeah, you want to have early signals to say there is product market fit and it could have a potential to become Horizon 2. And this is the recommended resource allocation for the 3 horizons. Usually companies put 70% of investment in Horizon 1, 20% of investment in Horizon 2, and 10% in Horizon 3. And that is stable company, mature companies. If you are a startup with a new technology, you probably put more investment in the Horizon 2 and 3. So it varies. But this is a very stable, mature company. Usually this allocation is their investment distribution. Now we have a real 3 horizon. So this is a Facebook conference in 2016. And it's very interesting graph that Mark Zuckerberg was presenting back then. And if you look at their Horizon 1, right, they were working on Facebook. And for the Horizon 2, they were working on video, they were working on messaging, search, WhatsApp, groups, Instagram. Those are the highly growth products back then, and they will become cash cow today, right? Because this is already 2016 that we're talking about, it's 9 years ago. And then Horizon 3, I think that is where things become interesting because back then Mark Zuckerberg was like, we're investing in connectivity, we're investing in AI, we're investing in VR and AR. 95-ish% of Meta's revenue is still on ads. So those are the traffic that you get from Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp, and all the Horizon 1 and 2, right? And those become your cash cow today. That's 95% of your revenue. And because this is 9 years ago, your VR was supposed to become your Horizon 2, right? By connectivity, no, it doesn't mean metaverse. It means actually like building connectivity for countries. Because I think that is a pretty long-term thinking back then for Meta, because they realized that their bottleneck for user growth is how many people having cell phone and how is the connectivity of that country. So back then, there is a startup that they acquired called Internet 100. And Internet 100 was literally building internet in Africa. And that startup, they acquired the startup and as a part of their portfolio. And then the startup founder was acquired by Meta as well and became their director of product management. And then the startup founder quit Meta and joined, I think, Lyft and became their vice president and later chief product officer. And in 2020, he interviewed me when I was interviewing Lyft APM program. And it's interesting. He founded that Internet 100 startup and he got acquired by Meta. So you have to say that Mark Zuckerberg is not a bad visionary. So there are 6 common patterns. If you don't have Horizon 1, 2, or 3, you're underserved, right? If you do not have Horizon 1 and you only have Horizon 2 and 3, you don't have cash cow, then you're losing the right to win because you do not have a core business. If you only have Horizon 1 and do not have Horizon 2 and 3, you're running out of steam. You're basically doing a traditional core business. Right? If you only have Horizon 2 or 3, that's where most of the startup land in. They're inventing the future. If you only have Horizon 1 and 3, you only have ideas but no business, right? Because the Horizon 3 hasn't become Horizon 2, so you don't have hyper growth businesses. If you only have Horizon 1 and 2 without 3, you're failing to seed the future. And usually, mid-sized companies land in the last pattern, and the signal that you can tell is their stock prices slowly go down. What are the 3 horizons from these companies? Who watched the Apple conference this week? Anyone
I
know what
know
are the Hamza?
I know they released the really thin phone and then the Apple AirPods Pro 3, which like translates like real time, I guess, or as real time as you can get with
Yeah.
whole phrases, which was kind of cool. You can just like show people your phone and it translates there.
Then do you want to talk about Apple's three horizons?
Sure, why not? So like if we were to start in the beginning, I guess it was phones and then like Macs, right? In terms of what they eventually went into, it was you could say Mac OS, right? Instead of just ha actually they had Mac OS prior to that. Um their entire Apple ecosystem could be Horizon 2. Horizon 3 could be things like their like VR, uh
Siri is their part of Horizon 3 and it's been stuck at Horizon 3 for longer because Siri intelligence never made it to Horizon 2 or 1, if everyone
oh,
is aware
yeah, there's
about
also a
this.
theory.
Horizon 1 is specifically their iPhones because they are cash cowing it since long and they are trying to innovate, but it's kind of hard for them to catch up. I guess
So
this year they were good, but I don't think so phenomenal.
Their car business used to be in Horizon 3. Um,
I agree.
yeah, I think the problem with Siri, I think we could talk more broader to Apple's investment in AI. And I think that has to be in Horizon 2. Otherwise, the company is facing some serious problems. Um, the other one, OpenAI.
well, their core business is their API, and then their the ability, their like regular subscription, right? Just querying ChatGPT and other models. What would Horizon 2 be?
OpenAI for enterprises is Horizon 2 because they came up with open source models where like they wanted to first deploy into enterprise and then make them into Horizon,
Oh,
the
they also have
segment which they are
OpenAI.
targeting.
I think they also came up with OpenAI for startups, which is also enterprise stuff. For Horizon 3, I guess they what is it like the conscious AI and stuff. And so I guess that has so many different paths with it because it could really lead into like anything. Wait,
Yeah,
so would you say like the Google Moonshot Factory is like Horizon 3?
I think, yeah. Well, I think if not exactly Horizon 3, then it should fall like in between Horizon 2 and 3, right? Um, so I think usually when you started that idea, you are in Horizon 3 to go to Moonshot, and then
Mhm.
like Google kind of found your idea. And then when you are slowly becoming to Horizon 2, that's when you can think about like jumping out of Moonshot lab and become a subsidiary company like Waymo, right? So that's
Mm.
where you have a bigger growth. But you can also like support you instead of just being in a incubator. I think one of the reasons why AI adoption is so fast is because AI has been there for since forever, and AI is not a new concept, and um, that's why the adoption is so fast. And I feel like the Horizon 1, 2, 3 is kind of like squeezed in, so it doesn't need your company to do 5 to 10 years. How about Google?
Well, we just brought up the moonshot stuff, right? So that
Yeah,
was like 2 to 3. It's regular search. Also, like the majority of the Google ecosystem should be in Horizon 1 right now, shouldn't it? Like Drive and everything, because so many companies use them as well as their search engine.
Gemini is Horizon 2.
yeah, I do think AI is a hyper growth business, and they can already generate revenue, but it's just not comparable today with the cash cows. So they're in Horizon 2. Horizon 3,
Their investments in nuclear energy, they are buying nuclear companies, is Horizon 3 because they know in future that will be something which will drive growth because of their lined up products in Horizon 2 and 1. They
Isn't
buying data centers.
They're still doing smart glasses now, so that's a Horizon 3 because they haven't really used that. or done anything with that yet. Like normal smart glasses, obviously not like the VR, AR stuff.
Also, I think for Google, their quantum computers need to drop from Horizon 3 to 2. They have been talking about it since a while. Um, so if it is not giving the company growth, it has a problem now.
Google DeepMind will be Horizon 2, right? The one which they are helping in medicines, working upon that
Yeah,
gene editing.
yeah. I think with with the AI adoption today, you can fasten the AI projects in the industries. So I do think, yeah, they should have a hyper growth today. Otherwise, they will have a problem. The next one, Tesla.
Selling cars is obviously their first one, and the second one would be their taxi system, or their autonomous taxi system for their Horizon 3. I'm trying to think of what they have ideas for. Doesn't Tesla release their like plan every so often? I know when I prepped for a Tesla interview, I had to read
For
that.
Elon, everything is Horizon 3 because the kind of statement he is making 1 trillion
I think Tesla is a
pay packets.
relatively easy one because the thing with Elon Musk is he literally followed the business framework so much, so his company is so well studied by all kinds of business strategy classes. So yeah, so for Horizon 3, definitely like the robots that they are building is Horizon 3, right? Because that one is not creating growth today. It just got started, humanoid robot, and for autopilot or I mean autopilot is in Horizon 1, but their full self-driving and their taxi is in Horizon 2 because they haven't um, have the mainstream adoption, but they are expecting growth. Back in the days, Tesla solar panel is also in Horizon 2. But now it is one of their mainstream revenue generation. It is just not as much as the car business. Um, but yeah, it is getting stable as a business now. TikTok.
TikTok shop and regular like ads and stuff
Ads
would be Horizon 1.
and live streaming.
TikTok just launched their AI video generation model.
Yeah.
Oh, I heard about that. Okay, so that'd be Gen 2, or I mean Horizon 2.
I think this is the time that Google marketing win because they launched Nano Banana around the same time. So people were like, "Oh, talking about Nano Banana," and forgot that TikTok launched a video model too.
Yep,
For one
Symphony.
time, Google marketing team won. They can't just got bullied by OpenAI marketing team. So the next one, Snapchat.
Don't they have like those sponsored story things where you go off to like the side and you like can view a bunch of media and their little stories? I'm assuming that they make money through that and ads, which is probably their Horizon 1.
Do they
Does
have?
Snapchat
Wait,
have
is
Horizon 2?
Snapchat is the company which do not have a Horizon 3? That's why their shareholder value is decreasing.
Yeah, I don't think they have a Horizon 3.
If you go back to the Snapchat history for a while, Snapchat started by saying that they're a social media company. And then over the years, they were like, we are actually a camera company. And then they kind of just lost themselves in what they're doing. So yeah, I think their Horizon 3 is a problem. Um, what they are doing in Horizon 2, honestly.
I I don't think they have a Horizon 2 or 3.
XR stuff. Like
Sorry, Charlie.
I think some like XR like mix of different like virtual or augmented reality when you use the camera into like
Yeah.
like
Oh, you mean when you have like when you use a certain
and like
lens,
yeah.
like
So I
a
feel
random
like
dude dancing?
but that is actually not that new, so I'm not sure if that counts like one or two.
Mm. I think we need to look at their revenue growth to see whether it lands in Horizon 2. But yes, Snapchat does have a problem in the future. And that's why their stock price decreased so much. And one funny thing, caveat that I can share with you guys, Snapchat is very known for their compensation salary is very focused on their base salary. So their base salary is extremely high because their stock doesn't worth that much. Yeah, for companies, we do quarter stock vesting. And what Snapchat employees do is as soon as they have the stock vested, they just sell all the stocks because the time that you accept the stock is the highest price in the future. So basically, Snapchat's compensation structure is all cash. But because they invest a lot in what Charlene just said, um, their like effects, their filters, leveraging their camera techniques. So they also have a bunch of researchers that are very deep into how to leverage AR and VR. And the spatial AI is what they're currently exploring. And a lot of them quit Snap to have their own company.
Do you
So
think that the pattern among all companies that don't really have a Horizon 3 or a Horizon 2 or do have a Horizon 2 but not a Horizon 3, like doesn't Netflix do like full cash comp?
yeah, we have Netflix.
Oh, I know that they have just regular streaming, and I know that they also produce their own films as well. But I don't know how they make money off of that, other because they use their streaming platform. At the end of the day, it just attracts more people to their streaming platform. It's the same subscription. And I also know another Horizon 2 would be they have like the like Netflix games. I don't know if that's a separate subscription or if it's like a Netflix Plus thing, but I know that exists because I see it randomly when I'm on. In terms of Horizon 3s, I don't really know what they're doing.
So Netflix, we're also talking about Netflix not having a Horizon 3. It's true. Um, and you can also tell by Netflix is trying to crack the share password thing, right? That is a signal of they're trying to get more money from Horizon 1. And because they need more investment in other stuff. And their ads business and game business are new businesses that they just develop, but they also do not have a Horizon 3. So we talk about projects where strategy shifting from Horizon 3 to Horizon 2 to Horizon 1, right? The shifting point is very important. These two distinctly different transitions, managing them is key, right? So from Horizon 3, you have low growth, you do not have material to current earning, to Horizon 2, that you have high growth, but you still do not have material to current earning, to Horizon 1, that you have high growth at first and have material to current earning, and then you become more stable and become low growth, but material to current earning. So this is how different projects shift. And for the first point from Horizon 3 to Horizon 2, you want to answer the question whether there is a business, right? That is the product market fit that we just talked about. If you have product market fit, you want to make it a hyper growth product, right? Because if some of the users think this idea is legit, then you should have more users. And then from Horizon 2 to Horizon 1, that is the part you want to ask yourself, can it scale, right? Does it have a bigger total addressable market? The hyper growth makes sense in the long term and can become a pretty big core business, or that is just it, right? It couldn't be material to the current earnings. So these are the two questions. And these are also the two questions if we're back to the new technology adoption cycle, right? So from the early stage, from the early adopters, you want to answer the question whether there is a business. When you cross the chasm, you want to understand, can it scale? So we are learning about different frameworks, but the different frameworks kind of associate with each other. And we talk about, for example, startups have a different structure, right, in the three horizons. They probably are not 70%, 20%, or 10%. And also some of the industry, like we just talked about AI, right? AI currently as an industry move way faster and their adoption is way faster, right? So there are some factors for the ideal balance. One is the pace of the industry evolution. Other one is degree of uncertainty. The third one is managerial and financial capacity, and the fourth one is shareholders' expectations. So these four factors make different industry or different companies in different situations. Yeah, that's why we need to isolate the industry of AI out, because the pace of the industry evolution is so high right now, and the degree of uncertainty is very low, because we do not question whether AI makes sense or not, right? We just question how it could land eventually after the hypergrowth. And managerial and financial capacity, that's why most of the startup are attached with big companies. And the shareholder expectations, that is also not a question today, because the investment from the government and also the investment from Wall Street, you can also tell the shareholders' expectation. So AI is a different industry as, let's say, traditional industry, right? Where the four factors are different. So when you analyze the three horizons, you have to consider the four factors in. And that's why it's very hard to analyze the horizons from outside. And that's also why today's assignment is to develop your own business strategy and your pitch deck for your product, not to investigate on another company. Then we come to the second concept that we're going to discuss today, the business model. This is a very traditional business model framework. Okay? There are 9 building blocks. The first one is customer segmentation segments. Second one is value proposition. Third one is channels. Fourth one is customer relationship, and then revenue stream, key resources, key activities, key partnerships, and cost structure. So you start analyzing the business model from your value proposition. Right? We spend a lot of time in this course talk about how do you figure out your value proposition. And then you expand to talk about, oh, your customer segments, what is your relationship with your customer, what is your distribution channels, and by serving your customer, when serving your customer, what are the capabilities that you still need, right? What are the key resources? And then it will lend you to the key partners. And then when you are analyzing, for example, your margin or like your revenue, your cost structure, that's how you monetize, right, as a business. And you start from value proposition, and the graph on the right is an easier way for you to help you to focus on your value proposition. You think about the problem that you're trying to solve and your user segments. Okay? What are your early adopters' top 3 problems? How do they solve the problems today? Right? And then who is your customer, and how will you qualify or identify early adopters? So this is how you figure out your early stage value proposition and your customer segment. You start from value proposition. This is the reason that customers turn to one product, service, or company over the other. And your value proposition solves a problem or satisfies a need and do one job. This is the job to be done that we previously talked about. Right? The bundle of products or services that caters to the requirements of a specific customer segment. So let's use Who Be My Profile as an example. The value proposition is different if I target different user segments, right? For job seekers, let's say, they probably want to land a job from my product. For small and medium business owners, they want to see whether there are interesting prospects, right, from Who Be their profile. Salespeople as well. They probably reach out to 100 people that could be their potential buyer, but then they saw the CEO of LinkedIn view their profile. Then it says something, right? Why does he view my profile? Maybe I can convert him to a lead, right, to my company. So different people want different value proposition from one product, right? So that's why, as always, in your PRD or your business plan, you always tie your value proposition with your customer, because different customer segmentation have different needs. And the key questions that you want to answer here, what value do we deliver to the customer? Which of the customer's problem are we helping to solve? Which customer needs are we satisfying? And what bundles of product and services are we offering to each customer segment? And the value propositions that you are offering can be related to performance, design, image, prestige, quality, or exclusivity. And these are very broad, right? Because when I buy a product, I might be looking for the performance, right? It could solve a problem, a functional problem I need. Or I'm just simply think that I want the image and prestige, right? So it is an emotional support rather than functional support. And then we talk about customer segmentation. This customer segmentation, usually we segment those users based on their demographics, their age, their location, right? Those are very simple customer segmentations, but also you could segment your customers based on their common needs, their common behaviors, and their common whatever, right? So it is not literally based on demographics. You segment them because they have the similar behavior, they have similar habit, they have similar lifestyle, they have similar mentality using your product, they have similar requirements. Right? So the question that you want to answer is, do their needs require and justify a distinct offer? Are they reached through separate distribution channels? Do they require different types of relationship? Do they have substantially different profitability? Are they willing to pay for different aspects of the offer? From these 5 questions, you can tell if you're targeting, like, for example, B2B customers, it is different as B2C customers, right? For example, what type of different relationships you have with your customer is totally different. We previously talked about how you, as a product manager for B2B services, to maintain relationship with your customers. For B2C product, you don't need that, right? So they want different relationship from your product. And how can you reach your customers? We also talk about when we were discussing growth and marketing, right? How to reach your customers, you think about channels and you think about messaging, right? So what is the current channel that you can reach to your customers? Yesterday, for the first time, I went to Costco in San Francisco. And Costco has a very unique selection of their product. And that's how Costco, like, is so popular among consumers, and they have a pretty good bargaining over their suppliers, because their selection kind of tell the customers that these products are trustworthy, they're high quality, and I'm giving the lowest price. Right? So that's why the margin from Costco is very limited. And they have very high negotiation power. It's always interesting to see the collection from Costco, and Costco is one of their distribution channel, right? Without Costco, you probably have a bunch of other distribution channel. For example, the snacks that you saw, right, in Costco, you can buy them online. But how much sales does Costco contribute to your overall sales, right? That goes back to the Porter's forces that defined how much bargaining power does the distributor have over you. And here, to identify customer segmentation, we need to answer for whom are we creating value and who are our most important customers. And then we come to channels, how a firm communicate with and reaches customer segments to deliver a value proposition. So what do the channels do? They raise awareness among customers about a company's product and services, help customers evaluate a firm's value proposition, allow customers to purchase specific product and services, and deliver a value proposition to customers, and provide post-purchase customer support. A huge problem when you work on growth is how to communicate your value proposition to customers. For example, when I first worked for LinkedIn, I work for user growth and user acquisition, right? How do you decide when to pop up a login wall on your guest experience, and what value proposition do you want to put on that login wall is extremely important. And you want to use whatever signal you have from the guest user on your guest experience, because you literally don't know who that member is, to identify what they need, right? Whether they're looking for a job from LinkedIn, or whether they just want to simply search for a person, right? You want to pop up different value proposition based on what they need. So we talk about paid ads as well, right? We talk about physical ads as well. You have to think about what objective you have for your messaging, and what are the channels you use to reach your customers, and eventually how to communicate the value proposition out and let them understand that this product can offer what they need. Some of the key questions you want to ask yourself. First one, through which channels do our customer segments want to be reached? That's a very important thing. For example, it's a it's always interesting also to see the cultural difference between China and the United States. In Chinese tech companies, in the elevators, you can see ads to promote you to like plant new hair. And I found that pretty funny. And I think it is the reaching the right audience because tech people lose their hair. But like I I barely see those in like company elevator, but I see those in the communities that people live in outside the company, right? So whether the company employees want to be reached in their inside their company is a question mark. If you think about us going into the elevator together after work, then only see JJ pulling out her phone and scan the QR code on the elevator to tell me how to grow my hair, that would be so embarrassing, right? So whether the customers want you to reach to them through that channel is a question mark. Okay. So you have to always have user empathy to think about how your users want you to reach them. And how are
So
we?
in United States, there they do not have hair ads in. They do not have ads in elevators.
I mean, they do, but I've never seen like growing your hair kind of ads in company elevators.
You, damn, that I will extrapolate this topic later.
You Silicon Valley people have to figure out how to grow your own hair. And you also want to ask yourself, how are we reaching them now? Right? Are they integrated? Which ones work best? Which ones are the most cost efficient? And how are we integrating them with customer routines? We talk about the first physical ads from Porsche for their electric cars, right? They literally just have that ads, have that huge wall of ads outside the first store of the first Tesla store in Beijing. Right? So by doing that, they're integrating their channels with their customers' routine, right? Because those customers were going to Tesla stores and buy Tesla or test drive a Tesla. So you always need to think about how you want to reach your customers and how they want to be reached. That's why I think when I was in New York, I saw on Subway that people were advertising about dating app. I found that pretty funny.
I think everything in New York could be a prevalent problem. Yeah, I think I just saw a person post that she saw like ads in New York subway that's like encouraging young women to be anxious about their like appearance and to see like using this like skincare or as if you sleep 8 hours and that's only target like young women. So it's really crazy to see that like today in the New York subway because usually US people just said they don't care about appearance, but I think it kind of shocked me that the uh that opinions has shifted a bit that this kind of ads are allowed.
Hmm. Yeah, another thing about channels, right? We cannot advertise LinkedIn to, let's say, in front of other companies, right? Like, we'll be like, are you not happy with your job? Go on LinkedIn, right? That would be super weird. So those people might not be happy with their job, but do they want to use LinkedIn or like just outside, just walking out of their company, right? That is one question. So by choosing channel, you have to integrate with the customer's routine and also have users' empathy to think about how they feel about this, whether you can have higher conversion. Since we just launched a new iPhone, right? So we could talk about for iPhone, for example, the channels are retail, carriers, web, or direct, right? These are the very common channels for iPhone. You can buy iPhone from their retail stores or from carriers, or directly from like their website. Yeah, if they have other distributors, you could also buy iPhone like from other distributor, or if they have accessories, right? They usually have more distributors for their accessories, so they might have different channels in that case. So for the customer relationship, the key questions you have is what type of relationship does each customer segment expect us to establish and maintain with them? Some of the, for example, B2B customers, they want you to check in with them regularly, right? For consumers, you don't have that problem. And which have we established already? And how costly are they? And how are they integrated into the rest of our business model? And customer relationships are driven by customer acquisition, customer retention, boosting per sale revenue, or basically upselling when you already have the customer. You want to build your customer relationship with your audience, not only like your enterprise customer or your consumer customers. You want to build trust with them, right? You want to make them trust your product and want to have more, right? After I buy an iPhone, I want an AirPod from you, right? After I have LinkedIn, then I want to buy LinkedIn Premium. And that's how you can acquire the customer, keep us upselling them, and build the trust by existing value proposition and solving their problem, leveraging a whole product, and then keep the user retention and further upselling. Now, when you have a LinkedIn Premium, the cheapest one, 29.9 per month, we can upsell you a more expensive one, right? And if you trust LinkedIn and you can buy a more expensive one, that is the customer relationship you want to maintain. A different side of the example are always like AI B2B SaaS company these days struggle with customer relationships. And that's why most of the AI startups today that you see would want to hire really experienced salespeople. Those are the people that they will spend a lot of money on, and they will spend more money on than hiring a product manager. Right? Because salespeople in B2B SaaS company or in AI B2B SaaS company are decisive to your success. And those people know how to maintain a customer relationship, and those people can bring you customers even. Right? So it is very important for some of the companies. And for revenue streams, there are two types of revenue streams. One is transactional. I buy an iPhone from you, you sell me an iPhone, right? I give you money, you give me the product. Or it's recurring, so it's a subscription. You pay for LinkedIn Premium every month. So the key questions that you want to answer, for what value are our customers really willing to pay? For what do they currently pay? And how are they currently paying? And how would they prefer to pay? And how much does each revenue stream contribute? An example for this is people always complain about after you already buy a product, you have to pay for subscription on top of it, right? That is a very common way to generate additional revenue for companies. For example, Aura Ring, right? After you buy the ring, you have to pay for, I think, $15 per month subscription. So people always complain about this. There is a mattress company called a Sleep. And after you buy the mattress, you also need to pay for a subscription. So yeah, that's the high-tech company usually do these days when they're doing a physical product, a physical tech company. And the key resources, the most important assets to make a business model work. And the key resources might be physical, intellectual, human, or financial. And this goes back to the portal's value chain, right? So you want to like make sure that like when you're in different parts of the value chain, you want different things. For Meta, for example, they want intellectual, right? They want human resources, and they're willing to pay a lot for a good AI researcher, right? They're not lack of financial support. So you never see Meta having a partnership just want their money, right? They're not lack of money. They are the one that are so confident saying, I'm going to contribute to the US $600 billion. And then the other CEOs have to match, right? So they have a lot of cash to be confident about that. Some other examples. For example, when you are a company creating snacks, let's say, right? Your distributor is your physical resource, right? You need to be in those stores, and that is how you get access to your customers. So there are different type of resource that you might need, and that leads to different type of partnerships. But the interesting thing about today's tech company or today's tech giants we're talking about, usually one business development can give you multiple resources. So we previously talked about a lot of business development are based on money. If you have a gap in the capability of helping each other, then you use money, right, to pay for that partnership. And sometimes you have collaboration on products, kind of sometimes give you distribution, or you just want, for example, the AI talent from OpenAI to work on Apple's intelligence, right? So you want different resources, and that's how you end up with specific partners. And then key activities. The most important things a company must do to make a business model work. There are key questions. For example, what activities do our value proposition require? Our distribution channels, customer relationship, and revenue stream. And in the key activities, there are different categories. The first one is production. So for example, you need manufacturing, you need factories to manufacture your product, right? And you probably have factory to assemble your product. Those are the key activities to make your product or to make your value proposition come true. And you probably need problem solving, consultancy, or hospitals, whatever. Or you probably need platforms or network, right? So for example, that works well in software companies. You might need to leverage a platform like Amazon, eBay, or Microsoft B2B network, right? And that's how you can get access to those enterprise customers. So the key activities are the things you as a company do to make sure that your business model work like a machine. And finally, we land on key partnerships, the network of suppliers and partners that make a business model work. There are some key questions. Who are our key partners? Who are our key suppliers? Which key resources are we acquiring from our partners? And which key activities do partners perform? So, for example, a lot of B2B companies have partnership with conferences. And that's how they can put a booth there and reach their customers through that conference, right? Because a lot of B2B sales, initially the leads happened during a conference. The relationship happened during a conference. And there are four basic types. The first one is strategic alliances between non-competitors. The relationship 3 years back then between OpenAI and Microsoft, right, is a strategic alliance between non-competitors. Right? One company have a model, one company have cloud computing. Now the situation is different. The second one is competition. So strategic relationship between competitors. You guys are competitors, but you can still partner with each other. For example, right? I use the example of doing social share on LinkedIn feed. After you click on the send button, you can see multiple platforms, right? LinkedIn, as all the social medias, are competitors as well, right? All of us are trying to acquire more attention from the users. But why do we have the collaboration? Because maybe LinkedIn have higher quality of content, but Twitter have a better distribution algorithm, right? So you want to leverage the capabilities of different companies and work together, although you guys are competitors. Joint ventures to develop new businesses, and buyer-supplier relationship to assure a reliable supply. And there are mainly three motivations. The first one is optimization and economies of scale. And second is reduction of risk and uncertainty. Third, acquisition of particular resources and activities. One other example of competition is what we previously said about Tesla sharing their IP to other automotive companies, right? They don't want to build electric cars themselves. That's why they share their IP to reduce the risk and uncertainty. So partnership is very interesting because it doesn't always like very obvious to you. One thing that I learned from my work at LinkedIn, by the way, LinkedIn and Microsoft, or like any company within Microsoft, are really good business people. And a lot of times you're shocked by the deals that they could develop. They will be like, oh, our company have a partnership with the other company. And then you will be like, what? And then as you think deeper, you kind of understand how brilliant this partnership is. And the cost structure, two broad classes, whether you're cost-driven or you're value-driven, right? This is also previously what we said about commodity. You have distinguishable values, and then you build up your reputation, right? Some of the company operate like cost-driven, and some of the company are more value-driven. This, again, ties back to the Porter's strategies. And some characteristics, the first one, fixed cost, second, variable cost, and it also have factors influenced by economy of scale and economy of scope. And for different like companies where like product offering, you could see from, for example, today's AI startups, right? Some of them have a fixed cost. So you maybe have, let's say, traditional SaaS company, I'm giving this recruiting tool to you. How many recruiters do you have, right? You have 5 recruiters, you buy 5 seats. That's a fixed cost, right? If you have 6 seats, then you increase 1 seat. It's also the same thing as I'm buying the Slack for all of you guys, okay? So right now I have 15 students, I buy 15 seats, right? That's a fixed cost. Or it is a variable cost, meaning that it's probably based on your usage or the performance that we're offering, right? So for example, today, a lot of AI are based on usage, right? How much you use their AI algorithm for your task. That's variable cost. So yeah, you as the CEO of your own company, you can decide your cost structure. So for the whole business model, on the right side, that's about value, right? Your value proposition, your customer segmentation, your channels, your customer relationship, and your revenue generation. That's the value that you create. On the other side, that's efficiency. Your key partners, your key activities, your key relationships, and your cost structure is how you make your company more efficient. And that's also how people think about AI these days. When AI first came out, people were like, oh, we want to create more value, but then AI doesn't have the capability of doing so. So most of the company are thinking about how to improve efficiency, right? That's the left side of the business model. On the right side, nowadays, AI are more capable of creating more value for the company.